As the final mission ended and our hero stared into the sunset, I couldn't help but feel conflicted. How could something so beautiful, brutal, and memorable face so much unfair and inaccurate criticism? My name is Arya, and here's why you should play Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows follow the story of Naoe and Yasuke, but for me, Naoe is the star of the show. She is one of the best Assassin's Creed characters I've ever played. Second to probably Ezio, and well, he was iconic. And the thing that makes Naoe such a great character is because she's so relatable, she's so raw, she is so grounded. And what I love about her journey is the fact that it feels like watching the Kill Bill movie, how she recovers from these horrific injuries, to starting from zero, to trying to discover herself and becoming a better person through the tough decision that she gets to make. And believe you me, it's not that the story gets you to make those decisions in a sense that it affects the story, it's the fact that you start caring about her so much and it gets you thinking of what you should really do. And how they've achieved that is by not only delivering a masterfully emotional journey, it's also the fact that through these sort of concentration points, you get to travel to the past and actually get more emotionally involved with her, from seeing her and feeling her emotion of first kill towards sort of growing up and becoming this warrior and her seeing her family. It just makes the decision so much more meaningful later. Also, the game does a fantastic job of allowing you to spend these just friendship and just purely raw, grounded moments with your companions where you're just having a laugh. And it's just so relatable. It's just like you spending time with your friends. And I just loved her journey every bit. Now, when it comes to Yasuke, to say that he's controversial is saying the absolute least. And here's the thing, I said in my other videos, when it comes to immersion and gameplay, that you should not play as him. And I 100% stand by that, and I'll explain a bit more in the gameplay part. But when it comes to the story and the character itself, I felt conflicted and different. And more frustrated as well, because I think if they would have done as good of a job as they did with Naoe in terms of story delivery, I think a lot of the controversies would have been avoided. And what I mean by that is, when you first get to meet him and play as him, he is out of place. He feels forced in, and it takes a while for you to be really involved with him and care about his character. But when you eventually kind of get used to him and do more of his story, you find this very lovey, goofable, naive guy that feels like a giant teddy bear than anything, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't mind that in terms of a side character, and I think that's what he should have been, because in terms of an overall arching story, you only get to realize why his character makes sense right at the end. Like, right towards the back end of the game, it all makes sense. How he's really involved with Naoe, why his existence makes sense. It's just like, why couldn't I have done that in a different way so you care more about him initially? And this could have all been avoided. And again, I would certainly say this. I would have had him as a companion, and I would have had him as an option maybe in an expansion to play as. Definitely not as a main character. As for the world itself, on that first observation and that feeling that you get when it does the pan, oh my god, you cannot ever take that away from Assassin's Creed world. It gets me every time. And that feeling honestly gets carried over to the rest of the world itself because it's handcrafted to perfection, and contrary to so many of the inaccurate videos that are out there talking about some of the graphical elements and some of the other stuff, ignoring a lot of other aspects, it is beautiful as it possibly can get. And I played this on PC, and honestly, I've had some of the best experiences I've had in gaming ever. You get to go to these cities that feel like you're walking in Venice. We're looking down these, from top of the castle down these water canals going around these sort of buildings. It's just wow. You go to this city like Sakamoto, you're going down these narrow alleyways, or you're going to these burned down villages, or you are going to looking up on a castle that's half built and you get to go there, or you get these castles that are just on top of these giant stairs, and it's just like a monolith almost. It's just handcrafted to perfection. Sometimes I would just sit in there looking and observing moments. There was even a moment that I stared at this waterfall, just sat there for ages looking at it. I know it sounds daft, but it was just the reflection of the light. It's just, oh my god, perfection. And the game doesn't stop there. It actually takes things further by doing something that's very unique to this. And what I mean by that is, with most games, you get to experience weather in a sense that you go to different areas of the map and they have different forms of weather, or snow, swamps, so on and so forth. Sometimes with the passing of times, game completely changes the world to a degree by adding snow and so on. And that's through a huge load. And that's done maybe once or twice in the game. With this, no, it takes it up the notch. The seasons constantly change. And it not only affects the aesthetics of the game, it actually affects how you interact with it, because the snow affects your movement, for example. Like you can swim during for example, summer and so on, but that same pond is frozen in winter. So how you approach stealth, how you approach a moment completely changes. It is just crazy. And also, even the world, the farmers, the people, they act differently. They wear different clothes. They also behave differently in terms of when you see farmers acting in a field in terms of planting certain seeds and kind of cultivating them in the spring and then harvesting them in, for example, end of summer or in autumn. It's just like, this is a living, breathing world. And the world itself is also affected by the political turmoil. And that feeling that I got with Witcher, where I was walking around hearing people talking about it and hearing and getting that emotional involvement with the direct world itself, I got that with the game. It was just done perfectly. And the game does not shy away from the brutality and the chaos this war has brought. And it constantly messes with your emotion in a way, from seeing the children that are affected by it, from just simply even the natural world that are affected by it. Even the decisions and the assassinations that you make, it's just incredible. You know, with every other Assassin's Creed game, the decisions are almost black and white. You sometimes get a surprise that you want to kill somebody or whatever that you didn't expect. But in most cases, you're like, yep, this is the bad guy, I want to kill him, that's it. With this game, it's complete opposite. You're constantly questioning yourself to a point where you feel almost bad for some of the assassination, and that conversation is actually reflected in the game itself. And you know what? It actually gives you the option to walk away from certain assassinations, which is crazy to say the least. Yes, it does not generally affect certain things in the game, but it does make you think, and that's the whole point. It's like a book that you read, that you constantly thinking to yourself, it's done perfectly. Wonderful job there too. Now, when it comes to combat and gameplay, I think the game has done a wonderful job of creating a harmony between your gear, your upgrade, and your choices. So what I mean by that is, with your gear, you have unique abilities and you can expand upon them and upgrade them in the blacksmith, in your base, and combine that together with each individual character having different trees, upgrade trees they can select from, and make that sort of an experience that's unique to you. And then when it comes to the gameplay and game choices, you get to then still choose between stealth and combat, and there, how you have selected your upgrades and your gear will come into effect. So say for example, we both want to approach a situation stealthily, but I want to play it with my blades and that way, but you want to use your tools. So I could go there, just assassinate people, the old school way, and you could be going there with ninja styles, just throwing stuff people from miles away and just done. Like freaking crazy, man. It's hella fun. I loved it. And one thing I would say though, with Yasuke stealth-wise, terrible, just stay away from that. And also additionally, when it comes to assassinations, in most cases, with the blade anyway, you cannot directly assassinate people. And that is very annoying. What I mean by directly assassinate people, mostly the bosses. And the reason why they do that is because they want you to have these cinematic fights, which I get. They are fun, don't get me wrong, but I'm a bit old school in that way. So, but that's again personal choice. It's not a jibe because I still enjoyed those massive boss fights. Now, when it comes to Yasuke, and I mentioned that earlier, that I will be addressing the issue with him in the gameplay. As I said, I do not recommend playing as him, and the reason for that is not because of color of skin, because I think that's just stupid, contrary to so many of the videos out there. It's simply to do with the fact that he does not fit an Assassin's Creed character. And even if it was Japanese, and I know it sounds funny, Japanese samurai, the fact is he's big and he's clunky, and his movement in the game is just not the type that you want to go for and enjoy in terms of the world of Assassin's Creed, or the immersion that I want to have for that. Maybe in another type of game, absolutely would have loved it. And this whole element with the fact that he does an insane amount of damage, he can literally waste a boss in a matter of less than a minute. It's just that crazy. It also affects Naoe, because what then it means for Naoe is the combat for her is going to be more difficult, because the game is trying to find a balance, because the world is designed for you to be able to switch between the two of them at any time, which is the other controversy that we have had, which is why Naoe is like, you are literally doing barely anything. That is the reason for it. Honestly, if it was frustrating at first because I wanted to play as Naoe, but I didn't mind it because Naoe felt like the hard mode and Yasuke felt like an easy mode, button mashing mode. Some people might want that, I don't know, but I want the immersion of Assassin's Creed. For that, I do not want to play as him. Again, one of the other elements when it comes to kind of movement in the world and so on, I know there's been a lot of controversies that you can't do the Assassin's Creed style of jumping around and so on and so forth. Yeah, I actually found that a bit daft in old games, because how can all the buildings be in line perfectly with each other that you can just constantly go between buildings? You want to have that natural feeling, so I don't mind a bit of a break and sometimes going between buildings and walking around. Absolutely fine. But again, that is an element that is going to be affected by the fact that, well, Yasuke is in there and they play and feel completely different with each other. Also, additionally, with the game is, I love the fact that they have gone away from a lot of the old school Assassin's Creed missions where you had to just continuously listen to people, follow them above the building, get for the moment and jump down and kill them. It was just consistent. Now you get to approach a scenario exactly how you want it to be. You go and do your research, then you follow, find your target that you want, and then you go and kill them however you want to approach it. And as I said earlier, you got to choose how to deal with the scenario as well. So job well done there. Another aspect that I think they've done a great job on is introducing you to the Japanese culture. And the reason for that is as you kind of walk around the world, you're constantly coming across these glyphs. And as you select them, whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's a building, whether it's an area, where you constantly get these codexes with a full description of what that is, what's about, even the historical elements. It's almost like you got a tour guide going through a museum with you, and you've got these headphones on your ear that are constantly kind of telling you what's happening. It's just great. And I get it, guys. I know there's a lot of controversies around the Japanese element and a lot of people there being offended. Don't get me wrong, I got no idea in terms of some aspects, whether they're missing there or they're inaccurate or how they should feel about, the culture being represented. That's not me for me to judge or anybody that's not Japanese. But one thing I can say for sure is compared to a lot of other games and respecting other cultures, I think they've done a lot in here that you don't usually see. And I really enjoy that. As I said, a lot of the times I would just read in the codexes just for fun. Additionally, throughout the world, you're going to find these keys that then you can accumulate and spend as points towards purchasing these items in the store to normally monetize. Again, you also have these events that are happening and that you get points for that you can spend towards a season pass. And also the developer is being consistent in releasing new updates for the game to not only just improve it, but also introduce new free missions, new companions, and also they're going to be releasing the new expansion later on in the year for free for people that pre-ordered it. So a lot of good things for the game and stuff that normally you wouldn't see for the game of this type. So once again, a positive thing and a job well done there from that point of view. As much as I was blown away by the beauty of Assassin's Creed Shadows world, I was also taken back and surprised on how good the gameplay, the characters, the story of the game is. It's simply stunning, but at the same time, for the final point, I was disappointed at how poor the voice acting in English is. Which is very surprising at the fact that how good the Japanese and immersive experience is. It's simply stunning. And that's one of the other controversies that are out there in terms of the poor voice acting. But guys, easily handled. Turn on immersive, turn on Japanese. That's how I watch my animes as well anyway. And you're gonna have a wonderful experience. But at the same time, for that and those other minor points and the issue with Yasuke, I cannot say it's a classic. Not because I did not enjoy it as much as I do for a classic game. No. It's simply because I have to still acknowledge them, but at the same time, I'm gonna say it's a fantastic game. It's a game that you have to play and you shouldn't miss. And once again, if you're having a doubt about it and you don't want to spend a fortune, I know again it's controversial, but if you get Ubisoft Plus for like 15, 17 pounds, you can play the game within a month and you get it free with that. So definitely, but personally, I would buy it just for the expansions and the other aspects that you get because it's just that good. I hope this video has helped you, and if it has, smash that like button and do subscribe. There's going to be more reviews like Atomfall coming very soon and more videos on gaming tech, streaming. I will be uploading regularly, so do look forward to those. But once again, thank you for watching. Hope you're doing fantastic wherever you are, and peace.